Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. Standing by in the wings, we have Mr. Tim Pate, Mr. Jonathan Eder. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
You guys are going to be playing some music in just a moment. We are still working on bringing all our hemp news things up to date here. Hopefully we'll get that in place. But we have some film clips to show, and we're taking viewer phone calls in just a few minutes. So we will buy a few crucial moments when we bring out our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Okay, we're going to go over to our music right now, and we're going to have Mr. Jonathan Eder and Tim Pate play some songs. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey, gentlemen.
Hello. You ready? Thank you.
All right. Well, we could go forward with a hemp news segment now, but yeah, let's go back to this camera. Here we go. Hey, it's cable access, you know. Our first story tonight is from Portland, Maine. Mainers would be allowed to legally possess and grow marijuana under a bill in the Maine legislature, but opponents say that's a bad idea. A bill unveiled Wednesday would legalize the personal use and private commercial cultivation of marijuana and tax consumer purchases at 7%. Democratic Maine Representative Diane Russell of Portland, Maine, who's sponsoring the bill, said it's time to stop turning otherwise law-abiding citizens who use marijuana into criminals. Legalizing cannabis would generate taxes, create jobs, and free up legal and public safety resources to focus on more pressing issues, Russell said. She maintained her bill would also restrict access to minors by regulating marijuana sales and taking it out of the hands of drug dealers. Russell said, quote, "It's absolutely irresponsible for society to continue burying our heads in the sand and pretending our current policy works. Too much is at stake to continue pretending this is just a joke from the latest reefer madness movie," end quote. The opponents, however, say it's a bad idea. Maine voters in 2009 approved a statewide referendum that changed Maine's decades-old medical marijuana law by expanding the conditions under which people could prescribe the drug to ease pain, while allowing retail dispensaries where patients could legally buy cannabis with a doctor's prescription. Maine Representative Russell's bill would allow Mainers 21 years and older to possess up to 1 pound of marijuana and legally smoke or ingest it in non-public places, including private residences. People could grow cannabis within 75 square feet of space for personal consumption and within 2,000 square feet of space for commercial cultivation. She estimated that marijuana sales would generate $8.5 million a year in sales tax each year and an undetermined amount of income tax for the people who make money off it. She envisioned small-scale growers across Maine cultivating the plants and selling the finished products to consumers. Her bill is co-sponsored by both Republicans and Democrats in the Maine legislature and representatives from the Maine Civil Liberties Union and the Maine Marijuana Policy Initiative. They spoke in favor of the bill at a press conference this past Wednesday. Still, she knows there will be opposition from other legislators. A spokesman for the Attorney General's office said on Wednesday that he opposes the bill and does not favor legalizing marijuana. This is a story from the Associated Press written by Clark Canfield on April 20th, a couple days ago. Next story is out of Olympia. The Washington legislature passed a major overhaul of the state's medical marijuana law Thursday in spite of a veto threat from the governor, a measure that would, for the first time, protect some patients from being arrested and create a system for licensing storefront dispensaries and grow operations. Supporters insisted that the changes are badly needed to remedy uneven treatment that dispensaries and patients have received from law enforcement and other officials around the state of Washington. But Washington Democratic Governor Chris Gregoire reiterated her opposition to the licensing scheme, saying she won't sign it because state workers could be held liable for violating federal laws. And she said she was disappointed that lawmakers sent the bill to her desk. Gregoire said in a statement, quote, "We need to create a system that works. I asked the legislature to work with me on a bill that does not subject state workers to risk of criminal liability," end quote. Gregoire said she would review the bill to see if she can sign off on any of it without jeopardizing state workers. She has the option of vetoing just parts of the bill under Washington law. According to Senator Jean Cole Wells, a Seattle Democrat who sponsored the measure, she said, quote, "Patients need this. Families of patients need this. Communities need this. Public safety mandates this," Cole Wells said. "Otherwise, we'll continue to see a proliferation of unregulated growers as well as dispensaries in communities across the state," end quote. Medical marijuana is legal in 15 states, but only 6 of them have dispensary systems set up by law, and the marijuana activists say federal agents have not previously gone after state employees who implement dispensary systems. Washington state voters in 1998 voted to let people with certain debilitating conditions present their marijuana authorizations as a defense if they're charged with marijuana possession. The law neither specifically authorizes dispensaries nor forbids them. Since 1998, authorities in Washington state and some counties have continued to arrest patients, while those in other jurisdictions, including Seattle, have largely been left alone. In King County, patient collectives provide marijuana to thousands of people, while in Spokane County, others have moved to shut down the dispensaries. Both law enforcement and patients have called for more clarity in the law. Despite that backdrop, the bill approved by lawmakers was not uniformly welcomed by medical marijuana groups. As originally drafted, the legislation would have prevented the arrest of authorized patients and would have barred police from conducting searches of any patients who signed an optional state medical marijuana registry. Amendments added by the House weaken those protections by deleting search protections and instead allowing arrest protection only for those patients who sign up with the registry, as we have here in Oregon. That doesn't go far enough in establishing patient safeguards, said Ben Livingston of the Cannabis Defense Coalition, a nonprofit marijuana activist group that isn't satisfied with the measure as passed. Livingston said, quote, "Our main goal is arrest protection for all authorized patients. So in that regard, today we failed," end quote. He said they hope to see a follow-up bill in a special legislative session to extend arrest protection for all patients. Livingston also feels the bill does nothing to change law enforcement culture, which he says still refuses to accept that medical marijuana use is the will of the people. The Washington House also added language to say that employers are not required to accommodate employees' medical marijuana use in their drug-free work environments and directs the Department of Health to establish a cap on the number of dispensaries permitted in any one county, no more than one dispensary per 20,000 residents. The processors, producers, and dispensers of medical marijuana would face criminal penalties if they sold the drug to anyone other than a licensed entity. The measure also says dispensaries may not be located within 500 feet of a school, daycare center, or another dispensary. Washington Cannabis Association spokesman Philip Doughty said he's relieved the measure passed and said he hopes she doesn't veto this bill. It isn't perfect, he said, but it provides a regulatory framework that can be improved in future years. Doughty said, quote, "If we need to come back and work out a different system in a year, if we need to create some kind of public-private partnership in order to buffer state employees, then bring it on. It's not going to be that hard," end quote. Support for the measure crossed party lines. Senator Cheryl Flung, a Republican from Maple Valley, said police haven't cracked down on widely proliferating dispensaries because it's hard to tell what's legal and what's not. She said, quote, "We want to make it easier to enforce," end quote. The law enforcement community still has concerns with the bill, according to Don Pierce, the executive director of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. He said, "I think it creates a whole different set of problems for us to keep track of commercial enterprises that it creates," Pierce said. He explained that the Police Association didn't support the bill and viewed it as flawed policy. Also, two different U.S. attorneys in Washington for both the Eastern District and the Western District of Washington wrote to the governor saying that it would be in violation of federal law. At the same time, the U.S. attorney in Montana and the U.S. attorney in Oregon have said that they have problems in the past week with the medical marijuana law. It seems like there's a concerted effort from the United States Justice Department to curtail the medical marijuana laws prevalent here in the West. Time will tell exactly what that'll turn into. That's the end of our hemp news segment tonight, and we got Tim Pate standing by. Hey, Tim.
It's good news and disturbing news at the same time.
It is.
You know, the way it's presented, we both obviously know that there's some issues with the state in Washington, and they really did need to fix those issues. But and then we've got other things going on too that you have to look out for, especially here in Oregon. But to think that no matter what we do, the feds are still going to step in. That makes me worried. It really does.
I understand that. You know, whether they step in or not is one thing. I don't think they'll get a conviction if they did step in, but going through that process is a lot of work.
It is.
We have a phone call. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hello.
Howdy.
Okay. First, thank you guys for what you guys do.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I have two questions.
Okay.
First one's medical. I go to the county for my medical. 37 years of construction, so more things are broke than that work. And I was told that I have a palpitation of the heart or irregular heartbeat. And being county, he wouldn't even discuss use of marijuana for pain. My question is it beneficial or not beneficial for with an irregular heartbeat to use marijuana?
You know, there's varying opinions on that. Some people say it will speed up your heartbeat a little bit. And they found actually by blocking the body's own endocannabinoid system that people who aren't able to use their natural cannabinoids have heart attacks and die. So that definitely has something to do with the cardiac system. I don't think it would negatively affect it, especially if you were using something like an edible or a vaporizer instead of smoking. Smoking over the long term can have negative impact on your coronary system. Does that help?
Okay.
Now, for chronic pain, it would definitely help that.
And see
it's
what
better.
he says, but I need to get away from county, right?
One more time?
Say that again.
Pardon?
Say that again, please.
Well, basically, I need to go to a heart doctor or a cardiac doctor and get away from the county doctor and maybe get a better idea of my medical condition and what if marijuana would be something I could do instead of taking all the pain medication like Vicodin and all the other stuff. And,
we have references for a number of cardiac surgeons and thoracic surgeons that can help you on that, and they typically recommend medical marijuana to their patients as well.
Okay, so that would be on your information line?
Yeah, just give us a call at the number, not the one there on your screen, but the one that'll pop up in a second. It's 503.
Okay, my second question is okay, I've got that number. My second question is a legal question. I'm basically an independent liberal with a gun, and I want to be able to have the right to go out and buy a weapon and buy ammunition and have my carry permit. Now, if I get this card, is that going, being that the federal government does not want me to have the right to use them as medicine, is this going to affect me because I have to go through the federal people in order to get my right to take, my rights to be able to do this?
Well, no, actually, it's not. As long as you have you only need a permit if you're going to carry a concealed weapon. To simply possess a weapon in your home, you don't have to have any kind of a permit. You get your permit for medical marijuana from the state.
But
now,
to buy a gun in the store,
right.
I have to go
do a federal background check.
And that goes through.
They won't know whether you have a medical marijuana permit or not.
Yeah.
They won't have any way to know whether you have a medical marijuana permit or not.
That's my question. Is that card come up on their information?
No, it does not. It's completely private. According to Oregon law and the law in all the states that have medical marijuana, the information is protected. And here in Oregon, when the state of Oregon's medical marijuana program and THCF medical clinics were initially subpoenaed for 17 patient records, both the state of Oregon and THCF Medical Clinic filed a motion to quash that subpoena, and the chief judge for the Eastern District of Washington quashed the subpoena and said that the records of the state of Oregon and THCF Medical Clinic's records were protected from that inquiry by a federal grand jury. So the federal government can't check it out. In fact, it's completely private.
Okay, thank you very much. You answered my information. You
You're
guys
welcome.
have a good
Glad
night.
to help.
Yeah, those are tough questions too. They come up often though. And no, it's private, or it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, the law explicitly says it's private, and I remember in that ruling that the chief judge for the Eastern District of Washington wrote about those two subpoenas, he said that there's a line between the federal and the state government and what can the federal government can demand from the state, and that the level of the federal inquiry didn't rise above that line. And
there you go.
Therefore, the patient's records and information with the state and with the clinic were protected. Now, if you have a question for us tonight, you can give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour, and I think we have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Are you there?
Hello, caller.
There you are. I hear you.
Hi, yes. I'm wondering, how can you get a medical marijuana card in the state of Oregon?
Well, you've got to get an application from the state of Oregon and fill it out. You've got to get a doctor to fill out the physician statement certifying that you have one of the qualifying conditions. Then you turn in your application and the physician certification statement to the state health department here in Portland at 800 Northeast Oregon Street. You can do that by mail or in person. They have 2 windows that they take applications from at 800 Northeast Oregon Street on the 2nd floor. And you have to pay a fee to the state of $100 unless you're on the Oregon Health Plan, food stamps, or Social Security Supplemental Security Income Program. If you're on any of those 3 assistance programs, then it's just $20 a year to the state health department for your annual permit. You have to renew that once a year. So I hope that helped.
How much is the permit?
It's $100 unless you have unless you have public assistance, then it's $20. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you want to find out more information, you can go right there to that website, hemp.org. That's hemp.org, and there's a lot of information there. In fact, if you click on the clinic and then click on a little segment called down the screen a little bit called THCF Defends Patient Rights, you can read that whole judge's statement where he quashed the subpoena for medical records from the state of Oregon and THCF medical clinics. But if you have a call for us tonight, we'll be taking your calls for about another 40 minutes or so. Call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We're also taking questions through the internet. If you're on Ustream, we're streaming live on the internet at ustream.tv. That's the letter U, STREAM.tv, and you can type in a question in the little chat box there that can be relayed to us here on the set. I think we have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yeah, you were asked a question a little while ago by a guy about federal gun laws and marijuana use.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it is a federal crime to possess marijuana and a gun at the same time. I think that's what that guy was asking about.
Well, it's a federal crime to if you don't have a previous criminal record, it's a federal crime to possess less. It's a misdemeanor to possess less than an ounce, and so.
But a gun in your possession
that would could enhance the crime, but not generally for simple possession. There hasn't been anyone that has a medical permit that hasn't sold marijuana that has faced any sort of criminal prosecution under federal law.
Well, hopefully that's the way it'll stand.
Yeah, I hope so too. True. You know, we're working to just completely legalize it. And
right, that'd be fantastic. But
yeah.
I think your caller was kind of edging at that question. You know, if I possess a gun and marijuana at the same time, am I going to be under federal violation?
But the federal government doesn't charge people unless they've been selling marijuana. In fact, the U.S. Attorney General has said that they aren't going to prosecute people who are complying with their state law. And so far, they haven't done that.
There have been some cases in the state of Oregon, too, where people have wanted to get their concealed gun permit and were denied it and went to court and it was overturned. And so
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so they're able to get a concealed gun permit. I know Washington County Sheriff was strongly against giving out gun permits to people who had medical marijuana permits. In fact, added a question to their concealed weapons permit application, and then that question was overturned by the and thrown out by the appellate courts in Oregon state system.
Fantastic. What I'm afraid of is if they happen to get a bug up their butt about you, they got you.
Yeah, of course.
I know how that works.
We all know that that's always possible. Yeah. Anybody who is smoking right now or using does not have a federal license is subject to that. We all know that.
Sure, you bet. Well, anyway, I just wanted to point my view out. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for clarifying.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, fellas.
Good night. Again, if you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. So I know you've been working hard on putting together the Hempstead World Music Festival.
Yes, we have. We'll just keep moving right along. But for those who don't know about it, we're going to be having Toots and the Maytals come up over the July 4th weekend, starting on July 2nd at the Lane County Event Center in their performance hall. Doors open at 3 o'clock. The show starts at 4:20, and we'll begin with John Trudell and Bad Dogs. Some of you know John Trudell, and if you don't, you need to come and see him as one of America's treasures, in my opinion. Rhythm Culture will be playing, and then one of the finest bands in the world.
John Trudell there.
Who Dubtonic Crew from Jamaica has just won the best band in the world, and so we want to hear them. And then Toots and the Maytals will be playing on the 2nd in Eugene, on the 3rd at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds, and then on the 4th at the Washington Park Rose Garden Amphitheater. So all 3 days, you could go to all 3 shows or any one, pick and choose. I don't care.
Yeah.
But definitely
tickets are available at Tickets Oregon,
yes,
and soon to be at Music Millennium
yes.
as well here on East Burnside. We have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, there you are.
How are you?
Good, I'm doing well. Talked to you several times before, Paul.
Cool.
But what I was wondering this time was, as far as the cannabis cafes that are in Oregon, or the dispensaries, or any of that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Now, if a grower for a patient has a friend who needs medication, or there's a person who needs medication, can that grower dispense that to that person?
A grower who has excess can dispense it to other patients. If the patient agrees as well, the medicine actually belongs to the patient. So with the consent of the patient, the grower can dispense that to other Oregon medical marijuana card holders.
So if the patient that asks me, or asks one of my other patients, if they can get it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't need that patient's card as a caregiver nor as a grower.
Right, exactly. As long as they have a patient card and you have either a caregiver, grower, or patient card, then you can legally share your medicine or dispense medicine to a card holder.
Well, got all 3 of those.
Just can't do more than 24 ounces at a time.
Pardon me?
Can't sell any single patient more than 24 ounces.
Oh, yeah.
They did
Okay.
sell. That's the wrong word.
Yeah.
According to that law. Well, that's a great answer, Paul. I appreciate knowing that. I've been wondering for a while. Have a good day.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I should clarify, I used the word sell there. A patient can compensate a grower for their expenses, whether the expenses be rent for the grow facility, electricity, supplies, utilities, any of those a patient can compensate a grower for. However, the law in Oregon explicitly says that patients cannot compensate growers for their time. So that's the distinction there. It's a fine line to observe.
True.
We have a film clip. We're going to roll it. We'll be back in just a second, so stay tuned. Won't be long. The march. September 11th, 10th and 11th, right? Yep. No, we're just going to do it 3 days. Yeah, the Seattle Hip Fest is going to be 3 days for the first time, but we're only going to...
It's a Rose City. We live in the Rose City. Think about it, folks.
smoke pot.
That was from the Global Marijuana March here in Portland, Oregon. We think it's back in 2004. 2004, and there's a lot of our friends we can see in there that have passed on, and a lot of kids that have grown up and things like that. But we're going to have another march coming on May 7th, right here. It's going to leave Pioneer Courthouse Square at high noon on May 7th here in Portland and in over 300 different cities all around the world. We have a caller standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hey.
Hey, I have two questions for you.
Sure.
You guys talked a little bit about the state of Oregon doing an annual renewal for medical marijuana card. Do they notify you by mail when that...
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Check your card for its expiration date.
Check your card for its expiration date. Sometimes they'll notify you. Sometimes they won't.
I have consistently been notified over the past 11 years.
Okay, and do you have to do the whole medical process again, or is it just submit the fee and they'll renew it sort of?
Yeah, you've got to go get a doctor to sign your annual physician certification form and turn that in with the fee of $100. Unless you're on public assistance, then it's $20.
Yes. Okay, and your facility can still do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. And then my second question is relating to the Cannabis Cafe. My understanding is they have sort of a donation program where you can donate money and leave with marijuana. Is that the case?
I believe that's the case, but I'm not. I know that they and several other facilities are having what they call farmers markets, to speak, where growers come in and pay a fee for a table, and then they pay the house, and the growers give cannabis to the patients. So I know that's taking place adjacent to the Cannabis Cafe and a number of other locations in Washington and Oregon.
Okay, great. Any resources to find out where those are?
The internet is one of your best bets, actually.
Okay, just type in farmers market, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Well, again, if you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. We're also we'll have a physician referral service. If you or someone you know needs to find a doctor to help get a medical marijuana card anywhere in the United States, you can call us at that toll-free number there on your screen, 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you are in the Portland area, though, you can make it a local call at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. We also are in the signature gathering phase of a petition campaign to completely legalize the sale of marijuana to adults through state licensed stores, allow farmers to cultivate it for sale in those stores, allow unlicensed farmers to cultivate industrial hemp for food, fuel, fiber, and also allow adults over the age of 21 to cultivate their own marijuana. It doesn't have to be medical. So if you want to find out more about that petition, you can go to the website right there on your screen. It's cannabistaxact.org. That's cannabistaxact.org. There is a one-signature, single-sided petition you can print out there and mail in to our office at 2712 Northeast Sandy Boulevard here in Portland. Or if you fill out the volunteer form, you can get a 10-signature sheet and ask your friends and other people to sign that petition to help us put that on the ballot for a vote in 2012. We have a caller. Welcome to our show, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, hello.
Hello, there you are.
How are you?
I was wondering when your guys' next hemp stock was.
Hemp stock is going to be on September the 11th and 12th. 10th and 11th. I should know these things.
Yeah, September 10th and 11th. I just looked it up on my calendar a moment ago.
We just talked about it in the break, just a moment ago. So it is. It's always the weekend after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's the second weekend in the month of September.
And then Hemp Fest up in Seattle is always the third weekend in August, and that'll be the 19th, 20th, and 21st. This year will be a 3-day show, and it'll again be on the waterfront in Myrtle Edwards Park down at the end of Pier 71. So come and enjoy either or both.
All right, thank you, guys.
You bet.
Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Oh, and by the way, just like to mention while we're on that subject, we did have planned for this Sunday a potluck out at the park, out at Kelly Point Park, and we have decided it's going to rain, and also I've spent some time out at the park this week, and the park is really not ready for visitors yet. The city parks in Portland are still closed down because of the enormous amount of rain we've had this year, so it's not ready for us yet, and if it gets any more rain, it'll just be saturated completely. So we're gonna not have our picnic this week or this month, and pass it on for next month. Hopefully we'll be able to do it soon.
We have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I was just wondering if it's good in brownies and cakes and stuff.
Sure, it can be cooked into brownies and cakes and spaghetti sauce. I really like it in blueberry muffins.
Good in nutrition.
You know, I think the flavor of cannabis complements the flavor of blueberry muffins.
On a medical side, Bar, it's more effective for pain when it's used that way.
Yeah.
And there are some people, because their lungs are so compromised already, or their cardiopulmonary system is, that's really the only way they can take it in. So eating it is a very effective way to take it in. And you asked whether it was good or not, and I think it's really good. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for that question.
Is it good in like nutrition and stuff?
What? I didn't understand the question.
No, it doesn't have much nutritional value in and of itself, but it won't hurt your nutrition in other ways. But thanks for your question. If you need an appetite stimulant, which is a bad thing for me, but if you do need that, it's very good for your nutrition because it will increase your appetite.
That's right.
We have a studio audience member who has a question for us here. So we're going to take a question from our studio audience member. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey.
Yep, that's on.
Perhaps this is a neophyte question, but I've got some plants in vegetative state that I started on summer equinox of last year, so they're kind of large, and I've been vegging them indoors at 20 and 4, and I've dropped it down to like 18 and 6, and they started increasing their internodal growth, but they're not flowering. They're just big and beautiful, and they're outgrowing my room. So when can I put them outside,
Now's
and
the
how
time.
do I judge the photo period? Do I decrease it and then try to?
No,
do I
you
try
don't have
like
to worry.
shift
The
gears?
plant will know. You just put it out there in the morning, and you don't want to put it out on a bright sunny day. You want to put it out in a shaded area, because if it goes directly from limited artificial light to direct bright sunshine like we had here in Portland today, it will give it kind of a sunburn. So you put it into a shady area on a rainy day so it kind of acclimates itself, and then put it out in the field and plant it into the ground is the best way, because the bigger your root systems are, the bigger your plant can get. If you put out a big plant at this time of year, you're liable to harvest between 10 and 20 pounds come mid-October.
Hallelujah.
Yay.
Off a single plant.
Can I now?
Yeah, now's the time. Anytime after, over the past week or so. Once there's more than 13 hours of daylight in a day, then you can put the plant out there. If it has less than 13 hours, then it'll start flowering. If it has more than 13 hours of daylight in a day, it will vegetate.
In most zones, you'd be safe. Here in Oregon, this last month was the coldest month on record. And so
as long
we
as you
still
don't get
had
a real
frost.
hard freeze, it's
exactly,
okay.
Exactly.
If it gets down even to the upper 30s, the plant will deal with that just fine.
There you go.
You know, cannabis is indigenous to the high Himalaya mountains. So
I hear it gets cold there.
It does. It's pretty high. Maybe that's why it gets you so high.
There you go.
Well, thanks. If I have a 10 or 20 pound bounty, I'm going to share that bounty.
All right. I'm sure there are a lot of patients out there that would be very, very grateful for that. And that's what I do. I grow big plants. Therefore, I don't have to grow many plants. I'm able to supply several patients with one plant. Anyway,
it helps.
If you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. We have a caller standing by again. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi.
Hey.
Howdy.
I was wondering, I've been trying to get a hold of a chapter in Bend, Oregon, and I'm having a hard time finding if there's any information down there.
Well, we go and see patients in Bend every week, and there are more and more dispensaries located on Division Street. If you just drive out Division Street, over there on the the north side of town, you'll see a number of them.
Okay, what it is, it's for a friend of mine that lives in Bend. So, I mean, he'll have to go through the whole, going to the doctor and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so can he do that in Bend?
Yeah. We see patients in Bend. If you want more information about that, you can call our number. If you're calling from Bend, they can call the toll-free number. It's there on your screen right now, 1-800-723-0188. And that's 1-800-723-0188. And if you want to call here in Portland, the number is 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. We also have a big benefit concert coming up on Sunday, July 3rd in Redmond, just about 12 miles north of Bend. We'll be at the Deschutes County Fairground with Toots and the Maytals. So we hope your friends in Bend will come out to that.
Okay. Hey, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
for your call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, we've been seeing patients in Bend for about 8 years, 9 years, something like that now.
And you've recently picked up another state, too, have you not?
Yep, we just started seeing patients in Arizona. I went there week before last. I'm going back to Arizona on Monday.
Are you? Yeah.
To help get our program going a little bit more there.
Very good.
But the state of Arizona is going to start accepting dispensary license applications on June 1st. And they're going to hand out 125 dispensary licenses all across the state of Arizona.
I wonder how many applications they'll get.
They'll probably get at least 1,000. That's been
so
the accepted wisdom, is there'll be 1,000 applicants for the 125 dispensary spots. So
I'm curious,
may the best business plan win.
There you go.
That's how it works, I think.
Is it? Is that really how it is?
I think so. I think the other thing is the various municipal governments all around the state of Arizona have set up rules and local, what do they call, zoning laws. So they're zoning various districts in Arizona as, where you can have a dispensary, how close it can be to residences, how close it can be to schools, things like that. So we do have another caller standing by, though. Welcome to the show, caller.
Thank you.
Howdy.
Hi. What I'm wondering about is I've had trouble with growers,
Yep.
just not coming up with what they should have.
Bummer.
And not being on time, and, lots of issues.
Yep.
And I would like to know if there's possible to get a grower that's honest.
It is possible. I think my patients, I hope they think they've got a grower that's honest. And so
I'm really happy with mine right now, too.
Good. And so it is possible to find honest growers. The best thing to do is if you see someone you don't know that you're considering as your grower, ask them if they've done it before for other patients, and then inquire how those patients feel about their grower. And if they have a few good references, well, that goes a long way to reassuring you. However, what I have always told patients is it's best, first and foremost, to go to family members and friends and someone you know and trust, and see if they can be your medical marijuana grower.
Yeah.
That's not possible for most patients, unfortunately.
It's not an easy task for some, I know that.
And it's expensive and time-consuming, not to mention a little risk of danger in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. It just, you keep trying and trying.
Well, there's going to be more and more, alternatives. The Oregon legislature looked at a dispensary bill. The people of the state have rejected 2 different bills to set up dispensaries. So we are working to just completely legalize marijuana, and we think that will resolve it. And then patients would be able to buy cannabis in pharmacies. I think it would be under $20 an ounce, maybe as low as $10 an ounce.
What do you think about the inflation of dispensaries all over?
The proliferation of them. Well, there are a lot of people who see dollar signs, but I think most dispensary owners are proactive and are a little activist-oriented as well. To be setting up in this environment, you've got to believe in what you're doing. So everyone, of course, who sets up a business hopes to at least make money and make ends meet. And many of them hope to get rich quick. So
that's a lot of my meeting is getting rich quick.
Yeah, and that's the bad part as far as I'm concerned. That makes it unfriendly to patients.
Really, I'm a native here, and I just don't. I don't know. It doesn't matter one way or the other, but I mean, I don't like the way they do that. That's not right.
Yeah, I agree.
I understand. That's why we've been so resistant to a California dispensary model here in the state of Oregon. Because the prices down there are exorbitant.
Yeah.
They're just out of line for anybody who is sick or on disability. They never have that kind of money to spend for their medicine.
When I grow cannabis, I can get the price outdoors down below $15 an ounce. That's in growing 24 plants in a small space. I think if I could grow it in a large field, I could drop that price even further. So the price of cannabis is way overinflated. I think once farmers are able to grow it in large fields, the price will drop down to $5 to $10 an ounce, not counting any taxes that might be imposed.
Yeah, that sounds a lot. That sounds a lot better.
This stuff grows on trees. We were just talking about how your plants can make 10 to 20 pounds if you put out a big plant right now in late April and harvest it in mid. Even a small plant outdoors at this time of year is going to turn into a big tree come mid-October because cannabis grows faster in our climate and temperate and cooler climates than any other plant on this planet.
I don't have any land, so what? There was a question I had and I just lost it.
That's all right. Smoke another joint.
No, that's not it.
Pass one to him,
please.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, and that was a good question.
Yeah, there was something. I'm sorry.
Maybe next week.
Thank you.
We're down to just about 9 minutes to go, so we might have time for one or two more questions. If you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, call us at 503-288-4448. It's that number there on your screen, 503-288-4448. And so there's a big contest going on the Hempstock website.
There is, and so far it looks like we've got 69 contestants.
69 bands.
That's it, and so a couple of comedians as well thrown in there, and so it was very exciting. We've doubled the number of Facebook friends we've had since we've entered the contest.
Let me ask you, who's got the most votes and how many votes they have right now?
Oh, I'm not going to. Yes, I do, but I'm not going to reveal it because it's too early. I just don't want to let it go. But because there's still 6 weeks to vote. And regardless of who is ahead right now, it's close enough that on any given day, somebody could surge ahead in the lead.
Something could go viral.
It could go. It could happen. So, and there's a good number of acts on there that are just superior. So we're looking forward to not only bringing the winner in, but I have a feeling we'll also bring in some of the other acts that are on there too. So. Check it out. If you like the band, you can vote yes to say I like, and the one with the most likes gets the $1,000 and gets to come play at Hempstock this fall. And then you get to vote. You could vote for everybody there if you want to, but you only get to vote once for each band. So go on and take a look and see which ones you really like.
Okay, we've got a caller standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi.
Hey. Howdy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's okay. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I was wondering about, is it legal to grow outside?
Yes. Needs to be in a private location. What I've done in a residential area here in the city is put up an 8-foot tall fence built in about 10 feet from the property line and a chain link 5-foot fence. So that's worked, but it needs to be concealed. You can't grow it out in a public location.
Out of public view is what the law says.
So like in the mountains?
Yeah, if you've got a private location and some property there, as long as you control that property,
yes, that
you can put a fence
there.
around it, and that's just fine.
Okay. I think that, and then also I was wondering about if I were a caregiver for somebody, would, I guess, the feds be able to come after me?
As long as
would I be protected at all?
You know, if you're not selling marijuana, you probably don't have anything to worry about when it comes to the federal government coming after you.
I agree.
But if you're selling marijuana, then you might have something to worry about. But if you're not selling it, you're just growing for patients and giving it away for free and staying at a relatively low number of plants, then if you're just growing 6 plants or less outside and you're legal as a patient under Oregon's law, you don't have anything to worry about. No one has been charged by the feds for anything like that yet.
Every justice memo I've read so far has stated that clearly, that if you're within the confines of the state law and you're not selling, and there's no commerce involved, you're going to be left alone.
Okay, so if I were to grow inside a community somewhere where I had, less than acre of land and a tall fence, or and somebody wouldn't be able to peek over, I mean, other than the possible smell, would they be able to get nosy or?
Well, you have to watch out for thieves. That would be the number one thing to worry about. Yeah. But as long as you're not growing more plants than you're allowed to by state law, you're protected by state law. And here in the Portland area, the police will protect you for certain.
Oh, okay. That's what's good about Oregon. We're all laid back. But another question is about children. If I have children inside the home,
then you should keep the marijuana garden locked, and the children cannot get into the garden. You wouldn't want to smoke marijuana in the presence of the children. You wouldn't ever want to let the children go into the garden, and certainly never help you do anything in the garden. So as long as the children don't have access to the garden and that your cannabis is kept locked and you aren't using cannabis in their possession, then your custody rights should remain unimpeded, and you shouldn't have any problems.
Okay.
That's what I've done in the past, and I haven't had any problems. I'm pretty public.
All right.
All right,
that all
thanks.
Sounds really good. Thank you.
Well, we are getting down there to about 4 minutes left, so we might be able to get time to take one more caller. You can call us there at 503-288-4448. Tim Pate is jumping into place, and I think Jonathan Eder is coming back to play a little bit of music here in just a moment. I want to remind our viewers again about the 2 primary purposes of our show. One, of course, is to help medical marijuana patients, and we have doctors all across the country and a physician referral service. So if you need help finding a doctor who can help you get medical marijuana, then you should give us a call. You can call us toll-free at that number, 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you are here in the Portland area, you can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And then the main reason that I started this show 14 and a half years ago, this is show number 581, was to promote the legalization of marijuana to adults. And we have a petition campaign currently underway to do just that. So to get more information about our petition campaign to legalize marijuana, you can call that number on your screen, 503-235-4606. Again, you can leave a message there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also go to our petition website. It's cannabistaxact.org. That's cannabistaxact.org. And help us end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and help medical marijuana patients by regulating the commercial marijuana market and allowing farmers to cultivate hemp for fuel, food, and fiber without a license. So find out more at cannabistaxact.org. I want to thank you folks for watching. We're going to go out with the music of Tim Pate and Jonathan Eder. As I said before, tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.
folks